Welcome back to the Monster Energy DreamHack Studio broadcast of the Nordic Championship 2019 summer season. It is the first match of the day. MJ versus Dusty, and Dusty secured their first game win of the season, and this time against the Finnish first seed of
And
MJ.
what a game win, huh?
What a game, Trouble. Break it down for us.
I mean, I don't know if there's much to break down. I felt like Dusty did a great job. They were on red side this time, so they gave everything to MJ that they wanted to. Like, all right, all this time we've been trying to get Debu on his famous Karthus. They gave it to them. VL has been wanting the Zarya. He has been every time he has been first picking the Zarya, it never ends well for him. Yes, the first game versus TFT they won it with Zarya, but he didn't first pick it. So maybe they can pick it, but not first pick, because they might jinx it a little bit. So they just got everything they needed. They got pressure in the mid lane. They had pressure in the bot lane. They had the tools to shut down the late game composition because there was no CC in any lane for that Karthus to go to and get an advantage for their team and get himself, rolling in the team. So great stuff from Joachim once more, but this time he was able to snowball the lead straight into the game win. Although there were a lot of question marks in execution, and we saw that last minute because there were a lot of, mainly I feel like it was Nipla who was he was trying to get himself in there with the KDA, you know what I mean? But in the end, he always ended up trading, one for one to someone else. I thought it could have been more clean than it was, but overall, that's a face of from Dusty that we've not seen before, and it was a very good impression.
This is the bloodthirstiest team I've ever seen. Your team's got Baron right in your hands. Nipla says, "No way, I want the kills," and just runs at them. Indeed.
Full Lady Jarvan?
Yeah, full AD Jarvan, aggressive gangplank top, and repick guys mid. I mean, they had it all for sure. And on the side of
Flash
MJ,
from Tatooine to try and get Nipla? That was a
true.
crazy game.
Crazy game indeed. And this is very eerily similar to MJ series versus the final tribe, where they had a pretty fantastic showing in match number one. They ran away with the game. They hyper prioritize their ADC and take that one away and tunnel on that strategy, get slapped in the second game, and it happened again. We'll see if they can turn it around in the third game here. But that's a Jarvan first lock-in here. And Joachim had such a nice performance on that one, so we'll be happy to secure it after the bans came in, which were Aurelia Renekton and Elise, as well as the Malzahar and Kenan and Karma. So banning that one away from Adi shows so much respect.
Out.
Yes.
Aatrox, Kiana, Ezreal being first pick. I mean, if I understand that, because if Joachim is going for the Jarvan, you know that this team is playing full early game force, so you want to be as safe as possible. I'm assuming maybe a Yumi could go really well here, a Tam Kent, something that will make your lane very passive. But the only problem with that is that if you go very passive, and this is kind of where I've written down, like if you go for the passive lane and your opponent's bot lane is better than yours, why not go for the Sona Tam Kench and just have a very passive matchup in the bot lane, but then you're going to scale so much late game. I don't believe that Hoyes and Bad Habit are this type of bot laners at all. They enjoy the action. They want to get in there. Kai'Sa locked in again for Hoyes. He had a great showing in the previous game. And the Nautilus coming in. So it's like, well, if you want the Rakan, you might as well forget it right now, Eru.
If it ain't broken, don't fix it, lads. Dusty are showing in 60% of their previous comp already locked in now.
You say this, but MJ did the exact same thing versus TFT. Remember the Renekton Elise, Jace, Zarya, Thresh, and then they picked the exact same comp with the addition of Braum instead of Thresh, and they got heavily punished by TFT. So The problem with running the exact same composition 2 games in a row is the fact that your opponents had the time to read you in that game and possibly not repeat the mistakes they have already done. Yumi indeed been locked in for the bot lane that goes in the hands of Eru, and that is a very great lane to play against the Nautilus. And even though Yumi has been perma-banned so far, this is the first time. She was open last round, but nobody actually ended up picking her. This time it's going to get grabbed by MJ.
And that's such a powerful lane there with that Ezreal Yumi combination. So much safety, so much poke. The one issue is obviously these Nautilus hooks coming in. And you hit the nail on the head there, right? When you run most of the same composition, because when you're losing out on the previous game, as MJ, you're thinking, hey, what went wrong? What could we have done? And what could we have done
Exactly.
differently? And you're thinking, okay, so this is obviously not going to apply. They're probably not going to pick their entire the same comp, but you can still make some nice points there. And your enemy decides to do the exact same thing again. Then all of this theory crafting and adaptations, it's coming into display right here. So the necessary adaptations are coming in. Now, Kiana and Nico taken away
Aatrox
from
is still up.
Dusty. Aatrox is up. We'll see if it's the final ban. It's actually going to be Azir. So this could be an Aatrox flex pick on the side of MJ. Are they willing to go for it, though?
I mean, Corki is still up, so the punishment still lies somewhere. Either Na is also available. Kennen, of course, and Nico have been banned away for that top lane shenanigans. Usually, you definitely don't want to first pick your melee champion in the top lane. This is why they're going to lock in the Corki for Mirza. It's a very, actually, I'm saying for Mirza, but in the LPL, we've seen a lot of top lane Corki, so it could be flexible between Tatui and Mirza right now.
Top lane Cookie would be a new one for the Nordics, at least. I'd love to see that. Highest likelihood is probably in the mid side, though. And we've seen Yumi's break up
Surely
with their
not.
ADCs in the past.
Okay.
Nah, it's only hovers. But there's the Vel'Koz, however. Okay, so Vel'Koz against a most probable Corki. How
It
does
brings
that
up
work?
back it brings back really bad memories because when Adi picked that Velkas, it got stomped really hard in this game. I don't know if you remember versus Neon, another Finnish team. So I'm kind of getting, flashbacks from Dusty playing against another Finnish team and the rumble in the top lane. I'm getting teased again by the Katarina, but this time I'm not going to fall for it, Lance Pinot. It's not going to be a Katarina. I need to get used to that.
You really do. They're going to play with your heartstrings many times over, especially MJ, it seems. But there is that Rumble. So, Rumble, I mean, that sort of negates a lot of
Hey,
top
there we
lane
go.
picks. There's that Aatrox. I think that Rumble will be at the steering wheel for quite some time, but with this increased healing coming in for the Aatrox in patch 9.14, the all-in is so deadly that if he ever gets the catch onto Nippler, it
Hmm.
should be doomed.
You know, it's quite questionable why Nibla chose to go for the Rumble here. I mean, I understand the combo with the J4, sure, you get everyone into the pit, you throw Equalizer, but literally look at every single champion that MJ has locked in. Every single one of them has a dash. Every single one of them has a way to get out of that cataclysm. So that weapon, that big gun that the J4 has to lock you down, has been equalized by all the mobility that these champions possess on the side of MJ. And I really love the pick of Aatrox because, like you said, at level 6, he becomes a menace. Yes, he does not revive anymore. 914, but he had such an uncontrollable amount of healing while in his ultimate, and we have mostly seen the electrocute being picked by Aatroxes all around, the globe, mainly LPL and LCK. I have a feeling this time we will see Tatsui though on the Conqueror.
The Conquer is indeed the choice of Keystone for Tatui this time around.
Interesting.
He's doubling down on the durability, the sustain, and is likely going for some sort of death stance build up there and being completely obnoxious in the amount that he will heal. So we are in it for game number 3 between MJ and Dusty. This one means the end of the series, so whoever wins here will secure their win. For MJ, it means equalizing or putting themselves at the middle of the standings and securing that place. For Dusty, it means the slow and steady pursuit of some mid-season wins. Both of these teams need to lock this one down.
Right. So first thing you need to consider here is that you have the exact same two junglers being picked over and over again and swapped around. Of course, Debu's Elise was banned both previous games, both this one and the previous one, so he wasn't able to pick that. He grabs, though, Joachim's Lee Sin, who didn't really opt for that champion. He went for the J4 again, who had a great game in the previous one with. So if you are that Jarvan, where do you really look to focus? Because clearly you cannot pin down bot lane, you cannot pin down the mid lane. The only route to go is towards Tatui in the top lane. And Nipla has not really showed, he has showed that he wants the action, so that's great. But I want to see the transition from that. Once he has the kills, once he has the power, how does he transition into not just going for more kills, but to securing more objectives for his team? And, you know, kind of stopping that tunnel vision towards, you know, the kills and the KDA, and more like, okay, how can we transition that into something that can benefit the entire team?
The neutral objectives on the towers have been lacking for these teams here, and that's exactly what you need to do. It's not enough to just brawl and brawl, but then again, they showed us that it kind of was last game. So if it does work for you sometimes, then perhaps, I mean, if that's their playstyle and that's how they're comfortable playing the game, then sure, right? But yeah, they need to start getting more confident in securing both these early dragons and these turrets, and actually pressing their advantages. I've been left wanting more a couple of times now, and hopefully they're adapting and learning in the third match. Okay, so watch the blue side. Yeah, that invade there. Debu going on to Joachim's blue buff.
Well,
Actually stealing that one
rightfully
away.
so. Yeah, rightfully so, because Joachim has actually claimed his own blue buff, so they kind of like traded. They actually, I think, spotted each other and they knew where the stat was going to be, so they kind of like traded quadrants, you know, of the jungle to each other. But here you see that there is a pattern forming. Mid and top, I'm sorry, are pushing for MJ, while their bot lane is being pressured underneath the tower. Now that's fine, because trying to dive a Yuumi lane after level 6 is really hard, and so is dive Nautilus. So I don't really expect to see many shenanigans happening in the bot lane so far. I mean, Yuumi is kind of weak in the earlies. He's mostly there, you know, to poke and keep that Ezreal fully shielded so he can, you know, farm from distance. My focus goes up the top lane together with Debu, who I think he's mostly trying to keep Tatui safe rather than try and get a gank on Nipla right now.
Yeah, Tatui's got a massive wave. He's actually saying cancel that recall. Tatui's trying to bait this one in there. Chain doesn't land. There are about 9 minions pummeling onto Tatui, so they don't want to bait for too long. And Nipla correctly identifying that, hey, perhaps I should be just that little bit safe. Yeah, the top lane senses were tingling, and I believe there was also that ward there.
And this is pretty much the optimal trade you're going to get versus an Ezreal Yuumi lane. You get the hook, you get the root, you get some Q spikes from the Kai'Sa, and that's pretty much all you're actually going to get. I don't think there is kill threat potential yet. Maybe if Joachim decides to join after the Arcane Shift has been baited by Bad Habit and maybe a flash been used in there. But again, I would like to see... Oh, another hook landing from Bad Habit.
Onto VL, but, you know, it is a Yuumi down there in the bot side. Does have those zoomies to keep her ADC safe. So, yeah, some nice hooks are coming in on Bad Habit. At least they're fishing for it, trying to look for some early pressure here. And That is their key, right?
Exactly.
MJ, they want to poke out, they want to continue laying down the continuous DPS, but Dusty, they gotta look for the picks.
Exactly, and this is great from the side of MJ because you've got the double poke comp in the bot lane and also the sustain. Now, the Nautilus and the Kai'Sa cannot sustain. We've talked about that, about the Nautilus as well. Usually, the optimal trade Nautilus wants to do is is in lanes that cannot actually heal. You cannot sustain. So, by the Yuumi being down there with heal and exhaust as well, it is impossible to get that trade favorable for the Nautilus. Usually you want to get the hook, you want to get, the root, hit them with the E as well, and that is perfect trade for you, especially if you have an ADC such as like the Kai'Sa, who can get some more extra deeps down for you. Now, with the Ezreal and the Yuumi, there's so much healing and shielding that actually prevents that from being a favorable trade towards the Nautilus. Now, if you look at the top side, you see how even these two guys are, and all over the map, I feel like the entire game has slowed down because both these teams are on the line right now. This is the last game of the series. Nobody wants to make a mistake, and nobody wants to lose this game because there's no second chances after this.
Both teams need to secure this one. As we already established, a lot is on the line as we approach the mid point of the season here. Not Flag and Drag lands onto Joachim. Onto Debut, I should say. Teleport comes in. Murza finds himself caught and he gets disintegrated for first blood. There's an equalizer also. Debut has to flash away, and a team effort by Dusty.
Oh no, Doggo upside down with the face in the dirt. Adi does it again together with Joachim. These two people were the ones that started the shenanigans in the previous game, and then they dominated. They took the lead and they never let go. And it is the exact same two members from Dusty that are doing this again here. Could this be a repeat?
Glimmers of hope, right? Glimmers of hope for this team. They've identified their strengths, they've identified what works and what nets them advantages, and they seem to be playing accordingly. So the evolution in progress right in front of our eyes, ladies and gentlemen, as the duo mid-jungle here are putting Dusty in a decent early game spot with almost a 1k gold lead early on.
I mean, not that it matters right now, but definitely getting that peak on your mid laner means a lot. You're going to have that second much earlier. You're going to be able to pressure the lane hard. That Corki is going to struggle a lot. And you see that the Aatrox is going full defensive mode. You have the Velkers. You're going to have the Rumble. These two in the same fight are going to cause, a magic resist alarm for your team. So he's already preparing himself. The chain is going to land in the top lane, but not much else. And they're just clearing waves back and forth. This is why I'm saying you can see how many things are at stake right here. None of the two teams want to press a button that they are going to regret.
Exactly. Some hesitancies for both of the squads here in that final game. But who do you think this favors the most? Because surely when MJ hit their item power spikes, they're going to be pressing hard. So perhaps both teams are just waiting for the point of time with which they are the strongest. So the longer the game goes, the higher percentage chance win rate for which of these two teams would you say?
I just really like the composition of Dusty, I'm going to be honest, because they do have the front line in the likes of Nautilus, they do have the engage with the equalizer, the Velkers, the Jarvan jumping in, but they also have the consistent damage from the Kai'Sa, and they have the dodge damage from the Kai'Sa, so she can actually maneuver herself when Tatui jumps in with a huge Aatrox. Oh boy, Joachim has found himself too.
Joachim, Flag and Drag plus Cataclysm, the burn is there. Oh, what? Debu's burst. It's too real. Murza assist here. The package is massive. Adi is burning down. There's a true shot barrage. The blast cone is here, but Tatui, once in on the action, slaughters Bad Habit, and it's a quick 2-for-0 in favor of MJ.
Wait, Joachim was like, I got me too, guys. Wait a second. This is an AD Lee Sin in the hands of Debu. We've seen him play this again. He plays it stellar, and he puts down the damage. Mirza hurts as well, as he already has his Sheen completed, so he underestimates the damage of the mid-jungle duo of MJ and ends up going down. And not just that, Bad Habit tries to get something going for his team. He tries to get up in there. He's like, all right, we're gonna get Corky. Mez is gonna go down. Well, Tatui ends up TPing because Nipla does not have it available and turns this fight around. Grabs a kill for himself as well. And the bot lane of MJ, whilst they were pressured underneath the tower, if you take Bad Habit out of the equation, Hoist cannot really pressure on his own against an Ezreal Yumi lane. So they also got the push in for themselves as well.
It's all about these small intricacies that affect how the game will play out after the team fights are done. MJ correctly identifying what they need to do when things cool off afterwards. So big kudos to them. And we almost see that Muraman or Manamune, I never remember which one is which.
Manamune is the starting item, and Muramana is the one that is upgraded.
Manamune almost completed for VL. So with that stacking Ezreal here, on the 24s onto Corki, they're lining themselves up to come online big time. Right on point where the turret plates fall. I suppose it should time quite nicely, don't you think? And that should need some early towers.
There's both two early game junglers. They're clearly both going for warrior. They want that early game pressure. They want that early game damage, but there's not much. Oh, saying that there's not much. Shelly has just been popped. 12 minutes in, and Mirza is going to assist his top laner.
It forces a TP by Mirza. Yeah, the dash comes in, and that's actually 4 turret plates now down on the top side. So a huge income there. Yeah, Nipla cashing in on that one. Perfectly equal in gold with Tatui. I think it's like 100, about 70 gold down. Down below Tatui. Meanwhile, there's a mid lane fight coming in. The tower dive by Adi. What are they doing? Biting up way more than they can chew. The fight is turned to 50%, I should say, as we have a 1-for-1 trade with Debu and Adi dying quite quickly.
Wait, just to clarify, that wasn't a tower dive by Adi. That was a great insect move by Debu. Kicking Adi back underneath the tower. That was excellent material right there. But that Velkers has already Ludin's Echo completed, and he actually destroys you even with 2 spells. So you can see how much Adi is hurting already. That Corki does not have his Trinity Force yet, and even when you do, this is a double AP comp you're playing against. As Corki, you would assume that he might want to go for that Hex Drinker first just to stay safe, but he's not really the one done his lane. It's actually Debu.
It is, and he still has the option to pick that item up later on once he finishes Trinity Force. So they're highly valuing these power spikes. And Trouble, ask and you shall receive. You didn't think that there was enough action, and everything happened right after you said that. Fantastic there. Are you dictating the game? Did you write the scripts?
Maybe, I don't know, maybe I've been hacked by some players and they're like listening to me. They're like, oh, this girl thinks we're not having much action. I'll show you action. Talking about action, Joachim is in the top lane together with Bad Habit.
With a 9.14 Aatrox ultimate. Remember, there comes the depth charge by a Bad Habit.
Oh my god!
And the healing is so real. What the living hell? And it almost takes down Joachim. That is 9.14 Aatrox, ladies and gentlemen. True Shot Barrage is going to come in, but I don't think he's going to kill anyone off. Nope, not at all. But that's a beast of a top.
That looked like he had a pocket Soraka right there hidden somewhere with him. I had not seen the 9.14 Aatrox. Now that I do, I can see why it's a permaban or peak in Korea and the LPL. That is crazy. And I can also see why it's being played with Electrocute. Of course, here we are having the Conqueror, if I'm not wrong. But what the Electrocute basically gives you is that burst one-shot damage against somebody who's squishy, like Adi, who's
Dragon's
been
Rage. Ooh, late flash by Adi. means his death as debut. Tower dives 2 towers to secure the kill there. Wow.
And grabs the second kill for
So
himself.
hungry, Trouble.
If you remember from the last game, yes, Adi had a lot of kills, but he had a couple of deaths for himself as well, you know, overextending. Well, you can't really call this overextension because he was in between his tier 1 and tier 2. So well played by Devo to be able to grab this kill for himself and also the awesome dragon for his team, which will give to that Aatrox top lane even more sustain.
You know, he doesn't have to fight you anymore to sustain a backup. He can even sustain between the fights, and it's also going to be fantastic for this poke composition that you've drafted yourself with those both ADCs. Sure, Koki Rockets, perhaps apart from the big one, that missile barrage, it doesn't necessarily do the most damage, but it's still a lot of pokes. That's a lot of damage. Yeah, 40% HP. Joachim feels that warrior build starting to hurt him a little bit. As the 2 is absolutely online.
I'm still adding champions to the legal list, and I think Aatrox has just made it into that list.
Too many champs to ban.
Oh yeah, true. So far, I think
nice
I've had Mordekaiser in my illegal list, and now we're adding Aatrox as well. Oh, good. We're getting there. I'll get it full, and then I will pretty much say that, oh my god, we don't have enough bans for all these illegal champions, and one of them is going to go into play. Oh my goodness, great chain. Tatooine.
Great chain. Lands. Tatooine is sticking on to Nippler, but with that slow. Actually, lands the knockup again, but is not going to commit for it. Trouble, are you sure you don't... It's not just that you have a thing for top laners or bruisers in general that you don't want in your games? It's starting to
oh yeah,
sound like
Renekton as well. You're right. I just remember Renekton is my illegal list as well. I mean, I don't have a particular hate, let's say, or dislike against top laners. They're not my favorite to play against if we're gonna go solo queue wise. But Adi, look where he has to play again. Oh boy, Tatooine's in trouble.
In between 2, Equalizer completely whiffs. The healing is real. It's not coming out this time though. Actually, dies at the hands of Joachim. Morello isn't available yet for Nippler, but I mean, he just didn't manage to find the damage this time.
Exactly, because that hourglass completion from Nippler came in clutch, and he wasn't able to deal the damage to regen that health back up. Ends up going down through the Hexstreaker. First tower is gonna go to the side of Dusty, and I just want to say, Adi has been playing so safe after getting tower dive between tier 1 and tier 2. Look at him. He is not moving from that tower until he sees where Debu is.
Yeah, a lot of awareness in that third game of the series, which is fantastic to see because it's what's been lacking for both these teams in the past, at least to some extent. The respect and the awareness to what you can and cannot get away with. And here we go. There is that Mana Immune plus Iceborne Gauntlet power spike coming in from VL, and it's starting to show. Maza picks up Trinity Force. The items are coming down.
Oh,
nice hook, actually. But VL Arcane Shift.
Fight an exhaust heal cat, so yeah, you only have an ignite, so the exhaust is really gonna hurt the Kai'Sa once it goes in, so you generally don't want to fight this as a 2v2, but you can fight this if you're
Killer Instinct, and Eru is dead. Catch the cat unattached.
Oh no, I don't think he's gonna be the only one.
No, he really isn't. VL still has Flash, Arcane Shift. How doesn't Ezreal die? Well, this is exactly how. That's Equalizer coming in. The burn is very real. Debu is right there. Can he get the Dragon's Rage? VL has the Flash. Remember, Flash is away. And Debu is the one to pick up the kill onto Nippler. Beautiful answer there by the entirety of MJ. Joachim has to flash away. And there you have it. It's actually a 1-for-1 trade. Amazing.
We've seen Nippler do this though over and over and over again, where he is going to try to force more fights for his team, and they just never end up great. 3, 1, and 2 right now for Debu, doing great. 150 bounty on top of his head, and that was a play you absolutely did not have to force because there was no objective to force at this point. Sure, you had 4 members down, but you're definitely not taking that tier 1 tower in the bot lane. Sure, if maybe there was a valuable dragon, you could kind of try and pull that play to gain more members advantage in your team, but Debu has been caught.
Oh, look at the
caught.
damage. Duo disintegration ray is real inside of that cataclysm. Man, it feels bad to get disintegrated on Debu. Eru did feel that one firsthand. It translates into the Baron.
Oh, he's
sure.
not even there.
No, Viola is on the way. Merza's around the corner. Tatui also, but this is a 4 turning into a 5-man Baron push at the 20th minute. Can they do it?
Slow.
It's so slow, but it's because Hoyes was so late to join on that Baron push. Equalizer comes in.
For the Baron!
Actually on the Baron. Tatui is in the middle of 4 people. It's actually trying to get it, but it's not enough. It's actually secured by Joachim. Do not try to deny this man Baron buffs. Merza paid off his debts there by dying at the hands of Dusty. So that's a Dusty 20-minute Baron. Crazy.
That was great stuff from Dusty. Joachim is like, guys, I can take the 50-50, but you know what would be better? A 0% chance from Debu to try and steal that Baron, and that's exactly what it was, because they caught both him and Eru in the pixel bush in the top side river and eliminated them with that ray coming out from Adi. Again, great showing, great performance here by the mid-jungle duo of Dusty with a little bit of a sprinkle of ADC Hoyes into the mixture. It seems to be working so well. And to be honest with you, I'm getting flashbacks from last game.
It's a winning formula, Trouble. They've identified, they're following the recipe, and they're baking a pretty nice cake. Now sieging that mid lane turret, and it's just so easy for them. They got the wave clear, they've got that Kaiser, they got the poke, they got everything they could possibly need here to just rotate around and take these turrets. Yes, double ocean plus air will make it slightly more difficult to push MJ away from these turrets, but I mean, it's going quite smoothly so far.
They don't really have any wave clear. Sure, they have some ADCs, but the wave clear is really in for them. They don't have any massive AP damage to push down the waves, although Debu might want to fight here.
He's looking for it. That's the final chapter. Rooting up Bad Habit. Finds the perfect angle onto that one. The equalizer forces MJ to stay inside of the fight. First kill of the game. Second one now. Tatui dies once again. Dredgeline tries to catch a VL there, but it's not enough. But 2-0 in favor of Dusty, and they're sieging this bot lane in the turret with the powered up Baron minions. Can they look for more? Yes, Adi's sieging mid lane, they're pinging it, and it's as if one man dictated the entire movement. Did you see Dusty there running down bot, and then one guy pinged mid, and they're like, yeah, we should do that. Press your advantages, Dusty. Go get him.
Actually, maybe Katarina would have worked better here for MJ. I mean, there's nothing that can interrupt her pretty much if you time it well. I'm just kidding, guys. I'm on teasing, but that's great stuff from Dusty so far. And they had, like you said, they had the recipe for winning in the last game. They are doing the exact same stats. And it's pretty surprising that MJ are not ready to reply.
They're not, despite having the time to find the adaptations from the previous game. We talked about it, right? The enemy team's running the exact same composition that you just lost to.
We saw it
You
happen.
have the time to adapt. We did see. And I mean, I guess they didn't really find enough answers, but then again, you have to put it down to execution and how well Dusty have been playing it in the early game.
And it's been stellar, to be honest with you. Joachim knew exactly where to apply pressure. Sure, Andy went down once or twice to Debu, but literally, if you're going down in between your tier 1 and tier 2 tower, what can you really do? You know, Debu is really good at taking disadvantages early game and finding these kills, but there is still Baron buff available for Dusty, and as long as they do have this, they're gonna take Hoyes all over the map and take towers down. And this is the only outer tower remaining for MJ.
The map is wide open and the world is their oyster. However, the decisiveness by MJ, that's a lot of damage there coming in from both the mid and ADC by Dusty there. But at the hands of Debu and Tatui, the decisiveness of this team is remarkable. if they find that one moment where they can pull the trigger and say go, they will run at you at 100 miles per hour, and there's barely anything you can do to stop them. So at the same time as Dusty is well ahead, you've got that 5k goal lead, got the Baron minions, you still have to have a little bit of concern at just the extent to which MJ can pull off some crazy stuff.
And you know what? This is, of course, the lack of frontline as well for MJ. I'm gonna make a little bit of a reference to teamfight tactics, but it's like you're running a full Rangers composition without a frontline, while Joachim, though, fancies some more kills.
Joachim forces the flash by VL. So synchronized, but here is the entirety of MJ. Oh, whoa, the Aatrox backflip lands straight onto Hoyz's head. This disintegration rate onto 2. Jibu tries to find something here. But that's exactly what I just talked about there. Yes, Dusty overcommit a little bit. MJ pull the trigger, and then they say no. Stop you dead in your tracks. Delay your momentum, and try to take that first step into crawling back into this game.
And again, that's the mistake you do when you're underestimating the power of people collapsing on you. Joachim actually dived there on his own underneath a tower with the hopes of the equalizer by Nipla doing the damage needed to get the kill. Sure, you get VL, but you lose a member yourself because you're forcing your entire team to try and back you up. And back to my reference to TFT, MJ's team is like kind of a Rangers team in TFT without having a front line. Literally anything that's going to reach you is going to insta-kill you because you are so squishy. So I do understand that Dibu is a very early game-oriented jungler. He likes playing this aggressive playstyle, but I have a feeling that Sejuani would have filled so much better this space that the front line is missing, because you have 2 ADCs, you have a great sustain support, you have an amazing fighter that does a lot of damage to the back line. Get that CC in, get the lockdown, and then all 3 will be unlocked to do as much damage as possible. Like this, they kind of all are running for their lives, trying to save themselves while trying to put the outmost damage down.
Hey, Trouble. We gotta talk about something.
All right.
You have a TFT addiction.
I do, actually.
Same, so it's okay. I'm enjoying the references. Alright, so Dusty are regrouping, clearing out the vision here. I'm pushing MJ back a little bit. Man, watch Merce's positioning though. They're trying their best to like establish this control that they need to take over the area. But I mean, MJ's just like poking in there over and over, trying to.
But they're the ones that have the Nautilus. They
do have the Nautilus. They can do it exactly.
Exactly. Whoever face checks from MJ will go instantly down if that hook lands from bad habits. So they can actually force them out of their own jungle, get all the vision needed, put all these pink boots down, and if you want MJ, come and face check us. We are the ones with the CC, and we're the ones that are going to start the Baron. Oh boy, fight incoming.
Here we go. It's going rather quickly this time. Comparatively quick at least. Down to 5k HP. Wait, the Hourglass? Used up by whom? I didn't even see that. The disintegration rate comes in. Massive equalizer. Dusty are coming in huge. And they can re-engage this Baron. There is that control where they need to clear that one out. But beautiful fight there. Tatui and Amerza killed off quickly. And that's Baron at 5k HP. Trisha Barrage to scout, giving Dibu that extra little bit of knowledge that he needs. He needs to find this resonating strike. Final chapter comes in. Can he find the ankle? There it is. He's looking for it. Oh, can he find the snipe? He's looking for it. He steals it. Dibu yoinks the Baron Nashor away from Joachim and saying, "Hey, I am the Smite King."
Oh my god, the actual Smite King gets out-smited by Dibu. Tries with tooth and nail to try and get any vision possible, using the Yumi ult, using the Trisha Barrage, give him any intel at how much HP this Baron is at. The absolute beast queues in there and steals away the blue worm out of the hands of 5 Dusty members. That must feel really good for him.
And it secures his team a way back into this game. They've been looking for this for such a long time, prodding and poking with this all Ranger composition that they've got going for themselves, and they finally catch it. Not only does this delay Dusty's push and the relentless siege into the base that they've been applying, it can also perhaps allow them to get some shenanigans going of their own. The Equalizer
Oh, the
comes in,
Tatooine.
Tatooine is in the middle of 3. The healing, let's see if it's enough. Beautiful Dragon's Rage, but not quite. It's a singular kill. Whoa! The two-shot barrage by VL. Not enough damage, but only barely to kill off Bad Habit, and at least that's MJ's split pusher down.
Yeah, and right here we have to remember Dusty are still the ones on the driver's seat. They're still the ones with the 5 towers over 2 from MJ. They're still the ones with a 4,000 gold lead and 15 kills to 6. So they are still the ones dictating the pace. The only thing that is Baron still managed to do for MJ is delay any further push from Dusty. So you deny them the buff, which would have probably resulted maybe in an inhibitor or an inhibitor turret. And then you get it yourself so you can try and turtle a little bit more and delay the end of the game. So that power spike comes in for both your ADCs. That Aatrox is actually unkillable. And they are building up a Fnatic bush.
When
Is it gonna be a
Baron
flank?
is down, yeah, they're looking for the flank, but I mean, there's no reason for MJ to go there whatsoever.
Oh, there's no
surely.
Baron anymore. There's no red buff. There's literally nothing. So,
Exactly.
oh,
But I mean, they
Joachim.
still find the angle though. There's a decent equalizer, puts 2 members down to 65% HP here.
But I
The
get
poke
feels
is real from
forced.
MJ. It does feel quite forced. I mean, they're grasping at straws here. That they saw that Baron being negated from them, and now they're
Now
thinking,
it's the
"Oh man,
chance.
it's slipping,
The
it's
only
slipping
thing
away
that's
from them."
keeping you behind from MJ is that equalizer destroying all your squishies.
So
3
for Joachim,
huge ultimates are down.
oh, final chapter is massive. Eru gets bopped by Addy. Watch the flank side by Mirza here as Hoyt kills off Tatooine. Tatooine not having the best game of his life. Double kill
Mirza?
now as VL still pops. Mirza's in there trying to lay down this Trinity Force auto attacks. Flash forward by Addy, not going to be sidestepped. Joachim on the killing spree now. And Dibu is trying his best
Oh.
to keep Dusty away from his base, but the more time they spend chasing here, the more time or the less time
really
they have
wants
to
that
push.
kill.
But there is that ace. It's only going to be Eru on the defense here for the coming 15 seconds, and for sure they
And
should be able to
again,
crack the mid.
You see what the
turret.
problem is. You see what we talked about. All the cooldowns were down. Ray had been used by Addy. There was no ultimate by the Javan, and Equalizer had been used in the previous fight. Everyone was able to sustain their health and get back up because of Eru. And then they get an amazing ultimate by the Yumi. And you would have thought, okay, they need to win this fight. All the cooldowns are down for Dusty, and it turns around because they're so squishy. So had there been a Setuani there, I'm saying again, I feel that this fight could have potentially ended differently. Now, that Lee Sin later into the game literally becomes kind of a kick bot. You need to insect somebody back into your team to try and get value out of it because you still have the 3 AD composition. You've got the Corki, you've got the Ezreal, and the Aatrox in the top lane. So the time somebody jumps back into your team, I don't think they're going to be able to get out alive from that. There's too much damage going on. But there's also too much advantage going on for Dusty. 4,000 gold still in the lead, only 1 minute for Baron, and Joachim fancies another smite duel.
He does, and last time he lost it, obviously, while Dusty had the full advantage there. And you're absolutely right in emphasizing the squishiness of MJ. Had there been a tankier champion, it could have been something differently there also, but could DB have potentially built a little bit differently? He's again going for that more of Malmortius. All over again.
I don't think so on the Lee Sin. You kind of have to pressure that early game advantage and do go for that AD to be any sort of factor in the game. But usually how it goes is that if you get a Yumi into your game, you need some sort of tankiness because you're essentially playing with 4 members. Yumi is attached, so she doesn't really count. Yes, she's there for all the buffs and stuff, but she's not really a 4th body because the second she detaches, you saw how easily she was getting one shot. in that previous fight. So you've got 4 members all sitting there, very squishy. Now the Guardian Angel has been completed by Tatui, and I'm expecting that Debu is trying for the same thing.
Perhaps.
Having that
might be-
second chance maybe of coming back to life and
Yeah.
try to get some more damage down while all the cooldowns from Dusty are down. That's what I'm assuming here.
I mean, yes, it would be fantastic for him to have that. Very valuable tool in this upcoming fight to come. But I mean, MJ, they just don't find the positioning. I, at the same time, feel like Dusty were way too late in starting this one up. Jiba's trying again. He's going to go for it. Oh, he doesn't take it this time, and he pays for it with a gray screen there. And Dusty this time around secure the Baron buff for themselves and will be slamming their heads down
Joachim
the
on the
mid lane.
flank.
Nice flank by Joachim. Final chapter is real, but the disintegration rate is even realer. Watch Tatui. He makes it out alive. He doesn't have the rub. He's trying to approach the wave to cut it off. Dusty they are trying to assist it and lead it in, but
they're gonna take the top one.
yeah, intelligently enough, they move top lane instead. And actually, MJ, they find Bad Habit all alone. Some bad habits.
Nobody's
showing
helping
once
him.
again. No one's helping him. They're tunneling on the top inhibitor. He's playing distraction.
But they can end
isn't
the
he? He's
game.
still alive, by the way. Bad Habit made it out. And they're actually looking at the Nexus turrets. Watch Debu. He's right here. The Dragon Mage comes in. Beautiful stopwatch there by Manipula. There is the Nexus being sieged. Dusty, they're going for it. Can they go all the distance? The final orders come in, and Dusty secure their first win of the Nordic Championship.
Wait, what? And they did it in Dusty fashion as well. They played their own game, Lance Pinot. We said, shall they maybe switch up their game? Shall they play something for more late game? Maybe the early game junglers don't work that well on Joachim. Well, they do. Twice he picks up that J4 and he shows Debu who is boss in this game. Sure, Debu manages to steal that Baron for the first time, but then Joachim was like, you know what? I took the first 50-50. I'm going to take the second one and prove to everyone who is the Smite King. Smites it down and the straight up finish line from there and on. 2 games in a row in Dusty fashion. Very well played, all in the books. And congratulations to them for picking up their first win.
Yeah, Iceland's coming in huge with their second seed, securing the first win of the season. What a huge thing here! And you know what? You know what else? I do believe that MJ were at 1 and 2 at the beginning of today.
They were 2 and 1 actually.
Two
no,
and
they were
one?
1 and 2. They
They're
were 1 and 2. You're right.
So that means that Dusty and
They're tied.
MJ tie for the second to last place in the Nordics.
That's
Only
her.
Celestial now, and they're yet to play. Remember, the next game is between Celestial Gaming as well as Neon Esports. So this could be a triple way tie for last, which is not what we expected coming into the match.
But they still have some room to wiggle around. They can still make it up there.
They can, for sure, and they're not a bad team per se. It's just they were caught out. Dusty found that winning recipe and played accordingly. So huge accomplishment for them there. Right, so Iceland, they pick up their first win against Finland's first seed, and when we are back from these ads, we will be bringing you Celestial Gaming, that's Norway's second seed, going up against Finland's second of Neon Esports once again. So if you don't want to miss that one, you should stay right in your seats because action is soon to come. We'll be right back.